He's like the historian. He knows if you go to our long sporting event, he's there. You know, a couple years ago, we were sitting around talking about teams, and Lyle said, you know, what about the 1939 team, which the football team? They were big champions. I don't know how he knew it. You know, maybe Dick went to a few games, but I'm sure Lyle. Next is Brian Price. Everybody knows Brian. He's a teacher. He's a coach. He's I believe it, RA Long expert athletic wizard. He knows everything about RA Long athletics, and everybody knows him. He's very knowledgeable and very good on the committee. Next is John Misty. Last meeting, we were sitting around, and Helene was telling us, yeah, you guys all did pretty good on your bios. And then she goes to John, you did a great job. Yours was really smooth. You know, if I was still in high school, I'd be calling him John Smooth the Sapien. Next, I want to remind everybody, on the second floor, there's a memorabilia room, and there's stairs or an elevator. There's all the annuals, scrapbooks, cheerleader outfits, uniforms. You know, there's probably a few articles out there about the 1967 Turkey Day game when RA Long beat Kelso 31-0. After the ceremony, please join us. There will be refreshments out in the hall. You know, there's desserts, there's Mexican food, there's sandwiches. It's quite a smorgasbord, and it's all good. Also, the inductees who have the poster boards out there, please pick them up after the ceremony when you leave. If you don't, I don't know where they go, but I know they're just not there the next day. I almost made it without glasses. Last, these are the RA Long Nomination Hall of Fame forms. If they're out in the hallway, please pick them up. If you nominate somebody, we can't guarantee they'll get in, but they will be considered, and they're good for 10 years. And last, and certainly most, I'd like to thank Helene Watson. She's on the committee, she runs the committee, she puts all this together. Extremely hard worker, very gracious, very dedicated, and you know, I'm not smart enough to give you all the adjectives that she deserves, but she does great, and thank you. Next up is the principal, Rich Reeves.
Helene, where are you at? Before we get going, welcome. This is a pretty fantastic night. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but first, I know Jim mentioned Helene and the work that she does putting this together for the last 14 years as a group of guys. But she does need a little more formal recognition. So Helene, can you come up to the stage? We'll load you in. Before I get started, I also want to show you what our individual nominees will be receiving tonight. It's a little different, but I tell you, Raleigh Johnson did it right. They did the remodel of the school in 1984. When they redid the roof, he kept every single slate that came off the roof, and we have them stored. So this year, our individual recipients will be receiving a slate. I'll show you one here in a second. And then our teams that are going in, your slate will be archived in the archive room. So look like this, and they're engraved, and so you get to take one home. If you put it in your yard, it might look like a tombstone or something. So put it on an easel. Okay. I think Jim thanked about everybody else that I was going to thank, so I'm going to get right to it. I've been a spectator at this event for the first 8 years I was here. This is my 10th year back at RAL. And I've watched many of you sitting in this audience be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Last year I was asked to MC for the first time as I retired. The most remarkable thing to me is listening to the journey that all of you have taken in your lives. And so many of your successes started right here in this building. It wasn't until I came back to RAL 10 years ago that I realized how much this high school has meant to so many people. A place where many prepared and got their first shot at success. Where teachers taught, coaches mentored, and those who you associated with helped prepare you for your future. And our inductees are also sitting here because of their successes. The funny thing is that this is exactly the same work we're doing with our students and our young athletes today. We're trying to prepare them, open doors for them, mentor them, and get them a shot to grow up and become who they're really meant to be. I take great pride in having the opportunity to serve as the leader of this amazing building, as we are now boasting a 96.3 graduation rate. We are also a three-year recipient as an avid school-wide site of distinction. For the last 3 years, we've been recognized by the state of Washington as a site of distinction for our graduation rates, putting us in the top 5% of the state. That being said, remarkable things continue to happen for students at RAL High School. That being said, let's honor our first lifetime achievement, Pat Anderson Rushford. Pat was born in North Dakota, Farnborough. Wide open spaces. Her family moved to Longview when she was 12. She attended Kessler, Monticello, and 3 years at RAL High School. While attending RAL, she was active in the pep club and drama. After graduating, she moved to the center and worked as a secretary bookkeeper in Vancouver. In 1963, she married and soon became a mother of two. Pat found out that because of her father being a disabled veteran, she was eligible to apply for a VA funding to go to college. In 1972, she graduated with honors from Clark College and with a degree in nursing. Pat's writing career began by starting to keep a journal and then writing poetry. Pat attended a writing conference in 1980. There she learned the craft of writing and discovered a new career. She started her first book in 1979 and was published in 1993 entitled, Have You Hugged Your Teenager Today? Writing pushed her into a world she could have never imagined, and it seemed that overnight she became a speaker and a teacher. She grew to enjoy the contact with the public through book signings, radio, and television appearances. In 1993, she was named Writer of the Year by Mount Hermon Writers Conference in California. Since then, she's written 50 books, many of them being parenting books. She later attended Western Evangelical Seminary, earning a master's degree in counseling in 1991. From 1988 to 1993, Pat worked as a contributing editor for Christian Parenting Today and sold articles to various parenting books. She also worked as an adjunct professor, writer in residence at the Western Evangelical Seminary. Pat has won additional awards such as Helen Kelch Writer of the Year, Christian Writers Association in 1991, and the Edgar Allan Poe nomination. Mystery Writer of America for her book Silent Witness in 1994. Pat and husband, Ron, have been married for 51 years, have 2 children, 7 grandchildren, and 3-year-old great-granddaughter. Lifetime Achievement inductee, Pat Anderson Rushford. Welcome to the RAL Hall of Fame.
That's 7 great-grandchildren. Thank you so much. I can't tell you what an honor it is to have this kind of an award. I loved RAL, and I have some really great memories of being here. In fact, I was on this stage Oh, it's been a long time ago now. I'm 76, I graduated in 61. But I was standing on stage with a gun in my hand pointing at a rattlesnake. And that was in a play called Ghosts Go West. And I was the lead character, Doreen Delaney. You know, it's interesting how high school, how our teachers affect us. I loved Mrs. Kohlmeyer. She was a drama coach, and I just remember so many uplifting things, so much encouragement from her. And the funny thing is that having written a lot and written a lot of mystery series, one of my first series characters was named Delaney, Angel Delaney. Well, I didn't realize that, the connection, until I was looking at the yearbook. And I saw the play, and I saw the character's name, and I thought, wow, that is amazing. So anyway, I'm just very thrilled to be here. I loved high school. I loved my teachers, most of them. No, I learned so much, and I never thought that I would even be going to college until I was able to through the veterans, and I'm very thankful for that. So thank you for the Hall of Fame Committee. Thank you for RA Long in general.
Lifetime Achievement inductee, Mary Cranston, class of 1992. After years of being recognized for her abilities as a star basketball player, coach, and sports psychologist, Mary Cranston is coming home again to work with local athletes to help them as needed. Mary feels very comfortable and excited to return to her roots in Longview and to RA Long. Mary helped the Lumberjills in winning a state championship in basketball in 1981. She joined teammates she had played ball with since grade school days. She then went on to play ball at Western Washington University, where she began studying sports psychology. She graduated and began working in several fields, including child protective services, and then established her own private practice. She still runs her office in Olympia, as well as in Longview now. Mary stayed close to her desire of coaching. She coached girls basketball in various high schools and colleges for 22 years, including Grace Harbor, Arlington High School, Black Hills High School, Aloha High School in Oregon, as well as South Umpqua, where she also worked as a behavior specialist. She stopped coaching in 2008 to focus on her own children's sports careers. She has also become an author and has opened up her office in Longview at the Monticello Hotel, as well as the one she currently had in Olympia. Mary followed up her ambitions while at RA Long as she was shaping her leadership abilities. She was involved in ASB leadership, as basketball team captain, first chair in the orchestra, and enjoyed being on the girls drill team. One major seed planner came in her life while at RA Long, was in the person of Barbara Futrell. She pulled Mary aside after class one day and told her she could be a good writer if she really wanted to be. That conversation led to Mary's being a published author today, including writing and implementing a drug and alcohol prevention program for the South Umpqua School District that led to an award of the Health Professional of the Year for the state of Oregon. Mary began her coaching career at South Umpqua High School. She later wrote curriculum and a program for Yelm High School, for the Yelm School District, called the ABCs of Student Success, where it's published and launched throughout the state of Washington. As of recent, Mary's speaking career is in the forefront, and she has sought out as a conference speaker, school district trainer, and motivational leader. Mary continues to feel the presence of her family and certainly the background of RA Long and Longview in general. She states that the seed planners of her past, the pillars she stands on today, allows her to feel grateful to all. Congratulations, Mary Cranston, Lifetime Achievement, Class of 2019.
here. I appreciate your dedication and your hard work to pull this off and to do it with such class. So thank you so much for that. I also want to shoot out a thank you to Helene again. She is the workforce behind this event, and she's in all those details. So thanks once again, Helene. And then thirdly, I just want to say congrats to this whole class of 2019. It's so exciting, and I'm so humbled to just be on the stage. And I didn't know, like, we were the first girls to win state, and like I get to be up here with you guys. Nice try over there, guys. No, just kidding. But it's so cool to see you guys. This is awesome. All right. So, in preparing for today, you guys, RA Long, for me, is a historical high school, and a lot of great people come out of this high school, so it's very humbling to be in this position. I think if we're honest today, I think when you first find out, you have that wave of like, why me, right? This school started in 1923, so many amazing people. And as I asked myself that question, I really can answer it today by saying that the reason that I am up here is because of you. Like, there would be no Hall of Fame for me without this community. There wouldn't be one. A lot of people have known my parents and have experienced them, throughout. My dad is a teacher and a coach here at RA Long. He's retired. My mom was at Kessler. But what I gleaned the most from my parents is their ability to team, and until you really live in the Cranston house and see that day in, day out, and have a front row seat to that, they team it up better than anybody I've ever seen. So I just am so thankful for that. I'm just going to do a quick pause here. I forgot to say this, Dexter. So when I discovered that I was going to the Hall of Fame, I was like, oh my gosh, and then I started to look at the list and I saw your name on there. And so I'm class of 82, he's 83. So Dexter and I ran around this school together. And my dad had coached Dexter, and my mom was your teacher at Kessler. So Dexter was like an annoying little brother to me. Like, he was in and out of our family, and he was always giving me trash about basketball. But really quick, the memory I got the minute I saw your name was when you and I were in pottery class together. We were trying to get an easy credit or something, stay eligible or something. And so in those days, the pottery class was like way the heck out there. I don't know where it is today, but it was like another country, like getting pottery. And the day that you shoved me in the closet, do you remember that? And he locked me in there. I still have a little trauma getting over with that. I'll never forget that one. All right, so hey, growing up in Longview in the 70s and 80s, honestly, it was just golden. It was safer, it was sweeter, and I loved it. We were the disco era, and those were just great times. So from the early days of North Lake Elementary, I was an old West Side kid. I grew up around the lake. I walked to school every day. I think one of the things I just love to remember is just, if you ever walk that neighborhood, are the trees. They're just amazing. The chestnuts that would drop, and I had this route of girlfriends I would pick up, and we walked in those days. And I'd pick up Amy Craig and Jan Rutledge and Risa Carson and Dawn Renee Sheldon, and we did kindergarten through 6th grade together. We walked that all the time. And it was at North Lake where I really met my first role model, and I really have always thought she kind of set the trajectory of my life, as crazy as that can be in elementary school. But I had this PE teacher, her name was Miss Keoho. So when I was going through, in the era of the Title IX. So that was like right when women's sports were coming, and this lady was all about it. We were gonna have everything the boys had. And so she organized teams. We competitively played in those days in elementary, and it was amazing. She had a big influence on me. It was there that I met Amy Norquist, and she was older than me, and we started playing hoops together, and Amy was just bigger than life for me, and we became good friends. We're great friends to this day, and I met her at North Lake. We traveled together to Monticello Junior High. I was really privileged to be in a really talented and intellectual class. People would always say, class of 82 is really loaded. You'd hear that a lot. Not your class, Dexter, sorry. 83 kind of tagged along with us. But they even tagged along with us because when we went to RA Long,
that year of 82, that was the first year that the freshmen came with us, and then it turned to the four-year high school. So 83 just kind of like tagged along with us even back then. So it was in junior high, really quick. I just want to say I developed a great friendship with a gal named Dawn Renee Sheldon. Dawn Renee was not a basketball girl. She lived on 23rd, and I lived on 25th. And we would just hang out, and she was like the smartest person I knew, and I'm always like, she's going to do something amazing. And she has. She went on and got her doctorate at the U of O, and she just had a big influence on me, probably more academically. We traveled to RA Long again. I was a sophomore going in. The last year of that, I ended up in a home ec class, and honestly, like, I'm really bad at home ec stuff. Like, I'm not a good sewer or cook or anything. But I met this guy, I don't know if he's here tonight, Kelly Ostring. Kelly was in my class, and he was really good at home ec. And so he would do all my projects, and we just made a great friendship that's very strong to this day. My basketball teammates were a huge part of my development. We had amazing accomplishments on the hardwood. We'd never lost a game. We were district champions, state title. But really what lingers, like the older you get, is just the friendships and the people. I mean, that's really, it's always about the people. So again, huge highlight in high school was Amy Norquist picking me up in her red sports car, and I would just be like going over to the gym. It was super fun, along with Teresa Kimball and Sherry Cole and Renee Rockos and all those girls I did life with. I want to say a shout out to the late coach Mike Noah, who was our coach. He had never coached girls. Again, it was that era of, you know, coming into that. I did not have a warm and fuzzy relationship with Mike Noah. Mike Noah was the first person that like just screamed in my face, you know? I hadn't really experienced that before, but to this day, I'm thankful that that happened because I can handle people like in intensity. Like I can handle people screaming at me because he did that. So I'm actually super grateful for that. He was a great coach. When I wasn't playing basketball, I was practicing my piano and my cello. I was in orchestra. I met my great friend Anne Loratti. I think she might be here. Anne was just, we had a blast in orchestra, so much fun. Anne just has an infectious personality. She can light up any room. We were just, had a great time as we do today. My sister Lynn, I believe she's here. Lynn was the smart one in the Cranston family, so she was the oldest and the smart one, and I appreciate that, Lynn. You really set the academic bar high for me and my brother. My brother was, you know, tried, but thank you for that. And also my sister was very musical. She played the violin and the piano. We did a lot of duets because I played the cello. We had a great time, and I just so appreciate my sister. The last third of my life is when my academic and professional stuff took off. I headed to Western Washington to play basketball. You know, basketball was a struggle for me at Western. It didn't go as well as I had hoped it would. It just was, I don't know what all the dynamics there were, but I remember in those days though, my brother Mike, I remember those were the days when we wrote letters. And he wrote me just the most awesome letter about not giving up and being encouraged. And my brother, you know, he's always joking around. Some of you know Mike Cranston, but there's a side of him, he has just really an uncanny ability for me to always say the right thing at the right time. And just being Mike Cranston's sister was a blast. You know, he could have just like shoved me off, but he let me hang out with him. And, you know, by the time we got older, it was a giant perk to have him, to get to know his friends. And, it was awesome. So at Western, what happened to me is I met Dr. Bernacchia, who's a very well-known sports psychologist, and he took me in, and I got to do a lot of research with Dr. Bernacchia, and I published a paper at Western and kind of got my feet on the path of sports psychology. So sports psychology works with athletes that are working on just their mental aspect as well as their mental health, and I just got to do a lot of really, really cool things there with him. And then following college, I got married, I had 3 kids. I love being a mom more than anything in the whole world, hands down, highest calling. My oldest daughter's in graduate school on the East Coast in psychology. She couldn't be here today. My oldest son, Walker, I know you're here, Walker. Walker's an Azusa Pacific graduate. He's in pursuit of attending the police academy, is pursuing that career. And Walker, I just want to say to you, just that I love our adult relationship, and I'm just better for you. And I want to personally thank you, Walker, for always showing up for me. You always show up no matter what. I appreciate that. Weston, my youngest son, is here, and Weston's on a basketball scholarship to Eastern Wyoming. Weston makes me laugh like no other. He is my heart and my soul. Weston, I think you're up there with your brother. Hope you're paying attention. I just want to say to you, Weston, that I just appreciate your brutally honest critique of me all the time. So that's what good. Okay, last third. A lot of us here today are in our last third of our life. You know, we're in that last third. And for me, it's included writing a book. I have a second book that's coming out shortly. And I have, as they were saying, I have a practice in Olympia and here in Longview. And you know, it's interesting because people watch you speak or they read your books, but as a therapist, nobody ever witnesses you working because of the confidentiality. So nobody ever sees you work, which is an interesting thing. But I love it, you guys. Every day I get to work with people that are battling like depression and anxiety, PTSD, grief, suicide ideation. I get to battle that with people, and it's so rewarding. And again, I just want to, as I wrap up here today, I really want to thank my husband, Ross Prater. You're here, Ross. Ross and I knew each other as kids. Again, he was friends with my brother, so that perk thing paid off. He was hung out a little bit with him. I got to know him. And in spite of being a monarch, Ross, you are my person. And you are my safe place to land. And I just appreciate you so much. And then my final tribute is to my parents. My mom, Marilyn Cranston. If you have never met my mom, it's like, literally, it's like Jesus and my mom. I mean, she's just, wow. Mom, it is the voice in my head, it's your voice in my head that I always hear all these years. I hear you always saying, don't give up, you can do this. I'm just so blessed to have your voice in my head all these years. So thank you, Mom. And Dad, a lot of you have known my dad, been coached by my dad. A lot of my life I've been known as Coach Cranston's daughter. Happened to me the other day at Safeway, actually. But my dad, his actions will forever be in my mind. Whenever I don't know what to do, whenever I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm always like, what would my dad do? And that is really my guide. So Dad, I see you out there. You're the wisest person I know. Hands down the wisest. And my dad taught me to love all people. And so I'm so forever thankful for that. So again, you guys, I began by saying I'm up here because of you, and I'm going to close by saying because of you I'm up here, and because of the committee, and because of RA Long High School, and just because of the Longview community. So thank you.
Individual inductee, Dexter Griffen. Dexter Griffen graduated from RA Long High School in 1984. He was an exceptional athlete. He participated and excelled in several different sport activities, basketball for 3 years, track for 2 years, and football for 2 years. Although he participated in all three activities, he excelled in basketball, as we all know, and he did it as well in track. In 1983 and 84, he was the team MVP for basketball in all league for years 83 and 84. He played basketball and lettered all 4 years in high school, in his high school career here. In track, he was the MVP in 1984. He placed fourth in the 2A state triple jump competition. He went on to break the RA Long triple jump record at 45 feet 4 inches, and then that record has stood for the last 36 years. After his successful high school career in basketball and track, he moved on to Eastern State University, received basketball's most valuable player in the 86-87 season. At Eastern State University, he received a Bachelor of Arts in Teaching along with his master's degree. After graduating with his prestigious degrees, he's continued on with his exceptional abilities. He has been a teacher and a coach. for more than 20 years, passing on his basketball knowledge. In 1998-99, he was the state runner-up for Coach of the Year. In 2002, he was the Westco Coach of the Year. In addition to his wonderful achievements, he made state appearances with his teams in 1999, 2002, 2007, 2008, and 2009. Was the West Coast League or Westco East League champs in 99, 03, 09, and he was a third place. Team was a third place state finisher in 3A in 1999. To Dexter's players and peers, he is known as an intense basketball coach, a dedicated mentor, an unapologetic joker, a gentle giant, and an animated storyteller. He is also a proud family man of 4 daughters with his wife, Lisa. Dexter has been quoted as being inspired by his high school coach, Don Brown, stating, "He inspired me to pursue a career in coaching and teaching, and that's what I've done." Ladies and gentlemen, Dexter Griffen, class of 24.
Sorry, Rich, baseball. Thank you guys. Thank everybody for coming out. Thank you, board, for putting me in the Hall of Fame. It's a big honor and it's very much appreciated. Elaine, again, thanks for all your work and calling me and Dexter, you forgot to say this, Dexter, you forgot to say that. I appreciate you still helping me on that. That's kind of how I am. All the inductees that are in with me, I appreciate all you guys and congratulations to you guys as well. Before I get started, Mary, I'm really upset you told that story because your mom was one of my favorite teachers. That's why I think some kind of abusive. But as you can see, baseball team, you would have locked her in there too. You would have locked her in there too. Funny part about it, she's in the closet yelling, "Let me out!" No, you're going to be late to your next class. My family is not here tonight. I wish they could be here tonight, but my daughter, she plays for Gonzaga. And they play Arkansas Little Rock tomorrow at 12:30. She had a red shirt this year. She tore her shoulder up. So she had a red shirt, but she'll be on the bench cheering tomorrow. And my other two were playing volleyball in Spokane, a college viewing tournament, so they better be playing well because I'm not paying for the college. I'd like to start out with talking about my trip, my journey here to RAL. It was kind of a long one, but it was a very good one. I had a lot of great mentors. Starting out at Broadway, I started out at Broadway Elementary School. I went there to my first 3, kindergarten, 2nd grade, 3rd grade. Had a fantastic teacher there, Miss Kukala, who I had in 2nd grade. I don't know if you guys know Miss Kukala. What's that? She was great. Yeah, she was the best. I mean, she made me like the judge of the class where if somebody got in trouble, I got to sentence them how many minutes they had to stay inside and not go to recess. So I thought it was pretty cool. But she was not only, she was cool there, but she would write me letters while I was in college playing at Eastern. And it was nice to get stuff from her. She would send me cookies and different deals. And I hadn't seen her in a long time, but I got into coaching and she still would send me stuff and letters. So if anybody knows her, hopefully she's still with us, but if anybody knows her, tell her that Dexter very much appreciates all the stuff she did for me when I was at Broadway. Then I went to Kessler. I went to Kessler Comet, the big green and gold Kessler Comet. I had 2 awesome teachers there. One was Mr. Eastlick. He taught me some about hard work. He taught me one thing. One day I went with him over to his house to work on his farm and cut some wood. I figured out I'm never going to own a farm. I'm never going to do hard work. So I told Mr. Eastlick, I love you, but I'm not coming back to your house anymore. But if anybody knows Mr. Eastlick, tell him the same thing. I really appreciate everything he did for me as well. And then, Mary she's right about her mom. Her mom Miss Cranston was my fourth grade teacher at Kessler, and I got to know her. She was, I figured out that she was the mother of this guy that played at RAL named Mike Cranston. This guy was pretty good. He could pass, he could shoot. He was a really good player. And I was like, that's your son? She's, yeah. And so that kind of got me hooked on RAL when I was a kid. Because, you know, most of the people I knew were going to Morris at that time. So it got me hooked on RAL. And Mike was a good mentor for me when I was a kid, coming along with Mr. McGee, Coach McGee, who I talked to yesterday, who is an awesome guy. I know some of you guys know Coach McGee, and he's an awesome guy, and really appreciate it. We used to go to state tournament, he'd always be in the crowd and come by and tap me on the shoulder and talk to me a little bit about the game. Then I got into youth sports here in Longview when the first year they had youth football. And one of my coaches I had market foods was Coach Blaine Myrie. He was an awesome coach. He was very inspirational. He was very positive, funny, very funny. One thing he'd always call people meatheads and different deals and make us laugh. Very, very entertaining guy and very positive. And you know, his son Tom and I, we teach together in Everett. We're still good friends, and just a great family. His wife Ardella, she used to make the best cookies, and we used to go over there and raid the refrigerator all the time because she was a really good cook. Don Worley, I played for Coach Worley at CED baseball, and we used to play over there at LC all the time. And he was a really good baseball coach. And one thing I figured out, I started growing, and I couldn't be a catcher anymore because all of a sudden I grew up to be about 6'5" at that time, and that's when, about the time Coach Brown started pulling me towards the basketball court more than the baseball field. So, but Coach Worley did an awesome job helping me as a youth. Middle school, we all know Coach Mo. I'm sure he recently passed. He was a great mentor at Monticello. He's probably Mr. Monticello. I'm sure all of us athletes here ran into Mr. Mo back in the day. He was a great football coach. Coach Pierce, he was the first basketball coach really that gave me a lot of confidence that I was a good basketball player. He took a lot of time with me, teaching me the game, instilling confidence in me. Was a really good coach, and I really appreciated Coach Pierce and his mentorship in middle school. Then I got to RAL. RAL, when I first got here, we were freshmen here. School was, I can't remember, we were in portables or something, I can't remember. But I got here, but before I got here, I did a lot of work with the basketball team. I'd come over here and practice with the team, and Coach Brown would have me come and leave middle school practice and come and practice with the varsity kids and beat up on Kyle Fowler all the time. I had to teach him a couple lessons. I still do to this day. Coach, give me your plan. I got more on you, Kyle, here in a bit. But you think about in those days in the 80s, think about it, we had some fantastic coaches here. I mean, really some fantastic, I've been coaching for a long time. You don't get better than the coaches we had here at RAL. Coach Hazen filled in for Coach Brown when Coach Brown's wife took ill, and he did a fantastic job for us. Another coach I had, when I did track my freshman year, and kind of didn't like it. I did a high jump, and that was when I had this metal bar, and when you landed on it, it bent and it hurt your back. And I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. This stuff hurts. It was raining. And I'm going to the gym. So every spring, Coach Cranston's looking for me in the hallways, and I'm ducking me, trying to find it to stay away from him, which was not very smart. It turned out later on. I went out for track. Finally went out for track. He talked me into it. We had a couple of deals that we did together, and I went out for track and met a coach, Coach Guglielmo. He was my long jump coach, and I didn't know I was very good at track because I never did it since I was a freshman. And I remember the first meet we had here at RAL. Coach Guglielmo never let me triple jump. He just taught me the form. And we worked on an approach, and I didn't know what the event was or anything, And I was sitting up in the stands in the stadium, and some friends of mine was like, "You're never gonna even make the pit. You're not even gonna make the pit." You know, they're talking smack. And I was scared I wasn't gonna make the pit. Next thing you know, I did my approach, jumped, and all of a sudden, Gugumo's face just went. He just like he couldn't believe it. And I was like, "Did I do something wrong?" And he's like, "That is a school record. You broke the school record." And I was like, "Really? I broke the school record." And it was as long as it is now, 36 years when I broke it then. But Coach Gugumo was an awesome track coach, along with Coach Cranston. I wish I would have did it, Coach Cranston, more. I should have did it all 3 years because it was a positive. It was such a good experience, and really I didn't know I was going to be any good at it, but I appreciate your help and all the hard work we did in the track that year. I had a really fun time in track. That was one of my best memories here at RAL. Next, Coach Eckerman, late Coach Eckerman. He was an awesome. First of all, he was an awesome teacher. His classes were really good, very interesting. But he kind of got me started thinking about, I could play basketball in college. Yeah, I was actually trying to get me to play college football. I was like, no way. I'm too skinny to play college, but I was then. But I was too skinny, and then one year I was out for football and broke my shoulder playing football. But Coach Eck really pushed me to try to look and say, hey, you're a good athlete enough to go play college sports. Broke my shoulder playing football last year, my junior year, and I didn't play again. Missed part of the basketball season that year. Coach Morris, Ty Morris, he was our receivers coach, but Ty was one of the biggest keys in my life here at Marion. RAL. Ty was more than a teacher and a coach. He was a really close friend. He helped me through a lot of issues that I had going here. He helped me just with sports. He was funny as heck. You guys all know Ty's laugh. And he was just an infectious person that I just adore Ty. He was the best. I also had some great teammates here. And some of you guys were here. Rich Johnson, Rick Arkell, Brian Worley, Bob Phillips. I'm sure there's other ones out here I can't see, but one thing when you play sports, the best thing that obviously you guys, the relationships that you have with each other, that's the most important thing. And I had some great guys that I played sports with all the way from Monticello up to here, and those relationships that'll last a lifetime. I really appreciate all my former teammates. Along with those teammates, I ran into one of my real closest friends, Kyle Fowler, who we we battled in high school a little bit in basketball. I was a lot younger than Kyle, but I was a freshman and senior. I still dominated him, but we went on to coach against each other a few times. He got me here at RAL. I did lose a game here years ago, but I returned the favor back at home. And it was a lot worse there than here on the point differential. And Jody Eaton, she was now Fowler. She was a good close friend of mine here. She also helped me, mentored me a lot here at school, and helped me through a lot of things that I was going through here at the school. Kyle met Jody because he was trying to bribe me into helping him get a date and get her phone number. And that's the only reason Kyle really talked to me in my freshman year. He thought he was so special. Still does. The biggest influence in my life then and in my coaching career, teaching career, obviously is Don Brown. There's many of you in here. How many of you that played sports, played basketball, whatever, know about the alley? The alley. Everybody knows about the alley at Coach Brown's house. You go there, it was an awesome place. You go there, he had a light in the alley, you plug in a light, he gave you a little code, you push the code on the garage, and you could play basketball all night long. And he'd come out there, whether he was in his pajamas or whatever, he'd come out there and he'd have cones out there and he'd put you through drills. And I wasn't very good at the beginning of it, but I tell you, if it wasn't for Coach Brown, I would have never made it to college playing basketball. And I really owe him a lot as a basketball player back in those days for all the help he gave me. When I got to college, I was one guy that knew how to do triple threat more than anybody else. We also coached against each other in high school. Coach Brown helped me get the job at Mariner. He did beat me in one game, but I think I did return the favor there. But one thing I do remember, Coach, is I still did beat you in that game in the alley. When he was kind of funny because he was a little quick guy, and I was this big, lanky, skinny guy, falling with my feet, couldn't make a layup, and he torched me. One day I got better, got bigger, stronger, and I was whooping him. I used like 9-2. The next thing you know, that he said, "Hold on a second, I got to go in my house. I got to go get something real quick." He never came back out. I still want that game. But he influenced a lot of us, whether it was basketball players, track athletes, girl basketball players. Everybody loved Coach Brown. And if anybody should be in there in the Hall of Fame, I tell you what, Coach Brown is one guy that should be here like immediately, because he is definitely a Hall of Famer here at RAL. Coach, I want to thank you guys. Please give Coach Brown a hand. He's here in the back. Thanks for, again, it's weird being back here. This place is so beautiful. And I can't, I was sitting there thinking, I wonder what the auditorium looks like. It's still just as nice as it was back in those days. But thanks, everybody. I appreciate the honor, and go Jacks. Thanks.
Individual athlete inductee, Misty, Velke, class of 1998. Misty was born to be a softball player. Misty's successes were enhanced by her parents, Dan and Linda Velke of Castle Rock. They were instrumental in her early development as a softball player and continued supporting her all the way through her high school career at RAL. For her dad was a volunteer assistant coach, and Mom kept the scorebook. Her brother Frankie and sister Tammy also played ball in the youth leagues. Scott Reeder and her dad were her pitching coaches. Growing up in Castle Rock, Misty and her teams were constantly at the top of the local leagues and state Fastpitch tournaments. Her 10 and under Bredfield team went undefeated in the league and then won the 10 and under Longview tourney. And in the Longview tourney, Misty struck out 72 out of 78 batters she faced. At the state tournament in Richland, that summer, Misty's team won the first ever 10 and under state Fastpitch tourney. Misty was the most valuable pitcher. In 1992, Misty's Bredfield team won the 12 and under state tournament in Centralia, where her team qualified for regional. Then she gets to RAL High School. During her freshman year at RAL, she was named to the Greater St. Helens Player of the Year. Misty was the most valuable player of her team and sported a nice 3.9 GPA. A highlight of the year might have been defeating Mark Morris, the league champs, in second place. They were prior to the second place team in state, prior year, 2-1. Velke tossed a one-hitter and struck out 10. In her sophomore season, along with these other ladies that are sitting with her, she and the Joes finished their first in league, and in a game with defending state champ Capital during the season, Velke tossed a no-hitter, striking out 17. That's out of a 7-inning game out of 7 or 6. 7-inning games with 21 hitters. Completing the fantastic season, the Joes took home the state Fastpitch trophy. Misty was the league most valuable player. At state, she received the Washington State Sportsmanship Excellence Award, and in 1996, she was named to the high school All-American team. In Misty's junior year, she was the co-league MVP, and in her senior season, she was the Player of the Year. She and the Jills were the league AA champions in 1997 and 1998. While at RAL, Misty had almost 1,500 strikeouts, along with 14 no-hitters and an ERA below 1. She was first team All-League and All-Academic All-League from 1995 to 98 when she graduated. She was a State Player of the Year in 1996, 97, and 98. Misty received many academic awards. In January of 1997, she received an Excellent English Award. Among these were the Presidential Education Award and the Washington State Principal Scholar Award in 1998. She graduated in her top 5% of her class here at RAL with a 3.92 GPA. Misty entered the University of San Diego after a distinguished high school career. At USD, she was on the Dean's Scholar Award winner. She made the all-academic team for the Western Intercollegiate Softball League. She was chosen WISL Most Valuable Player in 1999 and was on the all-tournament team. She set the USD strikeout record for a season with 255 and wins in a season of 25. Returning to Longview after USD, Misty enrolled at Lower Columbia College, attended LCC, and she made the President's Honor Roll. In that spring, Misty played softball with the Lady Devils. She came back from San Diego and helped the Red Devils win another NWAC championship. In Spokane, the Lady Devils defeated Mount Hood in 10 innings, 5-4 in the title game, and Misty earned MVP honors. This was Coach Tim Mackins and assistant coach Mick Brendan's second championship in a row. Misty made the Junior College All-American Fastpitch team, and based on her stellar pitching performances for the season. Misty continues her education at Washington State University, graduating summa cum laude with a degree in education, and has her master's degree as well. Misty currently teaches at Monticello Middle School and influences young student athletes on a daily basis. She was voted Mountain View's Teacher of the Year in 2015. Ladies and gentlemen, Misty Velke, class of 98.
When I met Helene at the beginning of the year, I found her husband came with her, and I found that he had attended all of my games, so that was such a neat experience, meeting someone that had been such an avid follower. And I'm a little nervous up here. You guys are a tough act to follow. Thank you to all the familiar faces I see out in the audience, friends and family. I just appreciate this honor for something that I love doing for so many years. I was thinking about when I started just as a dumb girl for my sister's softball team, and then wanting to play like the big kids out there, and all of the hours that my family, my brother, sister, and dad up here on the stage put into catching for me, hours upon hours to help me get to where I was. And when it came to high school, thinking about, I went to Castle Rock all through elementary and middle school, and chose RAL because it was such a great school academically, and because I wanted to play for Mr. Polk. Hearing some of these athletic stories, it made me think about a few, and some of the ones with Mr. Polk. If a batter would get on base, I could look over and occasionally see him start pacing in the dugout. And this honor to have with the boys team and the Fastpitch team that we were state champs in '96, it's amazing to think of the trip that we took to Arizona and all of these memories that I'm going to have forever. And most of all, my dad. He was my pitching coach along with Scott Reeder, and like I said, hours upon hours helping me become the pitcher I was. So thank you to my family.
Now for our team inductees. And it's interesting that Misty started telling stories because these two group of people. And again, this isn't part of, I'll get to the speeches in a minute, but this group of people sitting on the stage for the class of '96 and what they accomplished was just a pretty remarkable year for a guy that was 25 years old and packing up a bunch of girls and guys in a van and driving to Arizona. We didn't even go to a town that was a town. It was called Gila Bend. We got games there. It was hot in the middle of nowhere. Actually, they let their whole baseball team, they let the whole school out. And the whole school came out and watched us play baseball. But we went to Arizona and we swung around and went to Disneyland together. And again, just somebody mentioned the friendships. The athletics aside, the friendships that were built with these group of kids, because we used to go into the annex all the time. We didn't have a batting cage at the time until Fisher's dad built us one, but we traded in, and I can remember to speak to Misty a little bit, because these guys over here, I know it's little kids in here, but they were such smart asses. They were like, hey, I want to hit Velke. I want to swing on her. So we set her up in the cage. One of those guys touched her. They can tell their stories, and they'll probably get a couple beers in themselves tonight and say they hit a home run in the cage. That did not happen. I'll tell you that. So, anyway, I know Joe or somebody's going to speak after we're done here, or when I'm done, but the other thing with these guys, and this has been so much fun for me, it's been 22 years. And as soon as they found out they were getting in the Hall of Fame, they started a group text, about 14 of them. And boy, I tell you, let the stories start flying. They would have had to do that by phone back then, but I tell you, it's been a fun 3 weeks looking through their story. And that's what I told Joe or one of them. I said, if you're speaking, it has to be PG-13. You certainly wouldn't have got away with some of the stuff these days. Don't tell those stories. All right. Team inductee, 1996 4th place state boys baseball team. In 1971, the Pittsburgh Pirates powered their way to a World Series championship. Willie Stargell, Roberto Clemente, Danny Sanguillian, Richie Hebner, Al Oliver, Bob Robertson made a habit of crushing the baseball as the Pirates ran roughshod through the National League, the playoffs, and the World Series. The offensive barrage the Pirates used to do most of their damage earned them the nickname the Lumber Company. Coach Reeves' 1996 Lumberjack team followed in a similar path. The Jacks could be down 10-0 early and storm back by stalling to getting their cuts. No matter the deficit, these Jacks kept crawling their way back. Lumberjack Company indeed. Pitching by Jason Slinker, Jesse Matthews, and Scott Nicholson may have been scuffed up early, but they knew, as did the rest of the rotation, that if they could stop the bleeding, there were some bad dudes carrying bats that would put them right back in the ballgame. Devin Mackin, Joe Bayless, Kevin McDonald, Matt Fisher, Kelly LeBeau, John Marshall, Mike Lewis, among the many others on the roster, took turns spanking the ball all over the lot and pounding the opposition into submission. As the season went along, I think the team got on a roll and gained confidence that they could beat anyone at any given time. Assistant coach Charlie Wardy said, "We peaked at the right time and took the momentum in the postseason." The Jacks got off to what could only be described as a rocky start. After 5 games, the fellows in red and black were 1-4 overall and 0-3 in league. Dismal would be one way to describe that at the Jacks at that point, and those probably dismal would not be the words I would have said to those guys. I'm pretty sure. You're playing dismal. That didn't come out of my mouth. Then things changed. With consistent pitching as a foundation, the Jacks emptied their bat bag and never stopped swinging. By the time Coach Reed's club reached the 2A Class Baseball Final Four, Ari Long was 11-3 in the Greater St. Helens League and 18-5 overall. One reason for the remarkable turnaround may have come from Ari Long's April trip to Arizona. Jammed into bands, the Jacks, big words in there that I don't know, coalesced into a tidal wave of talent. A lot of our success has to do with how long we played together, Matthews explained. Most of our team started playing together since we were 9 or 10 years old. And I live in Tennessee, still stay in touch with almost everyone on the team. It was a very special group. RAL won 2 out of 3 in the Valley of the Sun and kept right on rolling through the league and into the playoffs. RAL faced Centralia in the district title game on May 7th, and as usual, the Jacks trailed 5-1 in the 6th. With time fleeting, Kevin McDonald belted a grand slam to deadlock the Matters, and Sean Marshall's pinch hit single put RAL ahead 6-5. The Jacks would win 8-5. At regionals, RAL toyed with Mount Rainier, letting the Rams think they could prevail. The Des Moines club led 5-0, 9-5, and 11-9 before bowing to the Jacks 12-11. McDonald, who had cranked out a grand slam at district, did it again against the Rams and not the Matters at 9-9. In the 7th, Bayless socked a 2-run single, and Macklin followed with a hit to score the winning run. In the regional title game, the Jacks bludgeoned Gig Harbor with a 6-run first inning and a 6-run first and a 5-run sixth. Ari Long smoked 20 hits, led by Fisher's 5-for-5 game, including a 2-run home run and Macklin's 3-for-4. Ari Long won that game 17-12. In the state semifinals, the Jacks lost the heartbreaker to Blanchette. Schlenker pitched well, and Nicholson and Mackin had 3 hits apiece. And with the wind out of their sails, the Jacks fell to Capital 9-11 in a battle for 3rd and 4th place, but not without the usual comeback. Ari Long trailed heading into the 4th, but scored 7 times in the inning to even things up. Capital, however, had the last volley as they put 8 runs on the board in the 6th to win. Fisher had 3 hits and 3 RBIs. Matthews and McDonald swatted 3 hits apiece. The Jacks finished with an 18-7 record and a 4th place trophy. The team was just that, a team. We didn't have any real superstars. We had a team that never stopped believing in themselves. Morley added, I think the 96 team put others on notice that if another team was going to go to the playoffs, they had to go through a tough road and get past the Lumberjacks to get here. 1996 state 4th place baseball team. Come up and then I'll have you introduce everybody that's there. I just want to say one thing on a personal note. I kind of mentioned it. I've never been around a group of players that love baseball so much, and it's something that I miss as a principal at RA Long now, watching some of our youth come in. It really, the shout out goes to their dads. Their dads played ball with them. Their dads coached them, and they grew up to be just phenomenal young men. When they were handed off to RA Long, I knew they loved the game, but they loved each other even more. They played for each other, and I truly believe that's why you were as successful as you were, because of your belief in one another. These 4th place finishers were the very first team in the history of RA Long to get to the Final Four. After 22 years since that time, you're one of 2 that have ever done that in the history of RA Long. So congratulations, guys, and welcome to the Hall of Fame.
So, I found out about 45 minutes ago that I was going to speak. Oh, good news. Come on up. Everybody, this is Jesse. So, 2 days ago, Jesse missed his plane. And then today his plane got delayed. But he's here. And he was going to speak. Oh, no, he wasn't. So I'm going to speak. Which is fine. Although it's very weird when I've never been in a place where there's light shining at me. I'm not like a professional speaker or anything. So I don't know if I should feel like I'm being interrogated or if I'm very important. I'm not sure. But when we were in the back room and I told a couple guys that I was speaking, they all kind of looked away like, yeah, you're going to do it. And I'm like, okay, because they didn't want to do it. So here goes nothing. Well, Marshall probably would have done it. And he still might. So I don't have any papers to flip through. I have 5 minutes, so I'm just going to pause. I want to thank the committee for putting all this together. I know we were all flattered by the honor of getting the letter in the mail. It was pretty exciting in my house. My kids were super stoked. They're even wearing RAL swag tonight, which is pretty cool. So I guess what I'll talk about first, since Rich covered a lot of the highlights here, you know, we had prepared notes. I guess what I'll talk about here is a little bit of the community about RAL and what makes it so special. Just for me walking in tonight, I haven't been in the building in a lot of years. I know that that's the same feeling for everybody that's up here. Not everybody lives around town or comes back for something, so it's a pretty special place to walk into, and a lot of the feelings that come back are pretty great. So a lot of the players talked about that when we came in. I know you guys all feel it too. It's a pretty special place. Courtney, I told my wife that we were a couple in 6th grade on the way here. That's a little awkward. But hey, I got the microphone, so. And I also look around, but what is comforting for me is I look around and I do see a lot of the dads that helped this team develop through the years. I see Gino in the back, Dawn. I'll do your first name so you can stay anonymous. Tim, Jerry, Ellen. A lot of coaches around that put a lot of support for the teams through the years. So I know as a team we're collectively thankful for that. For the '96 team, that really was a special year for us. The bonding trip to Arizona was incredible. Put together by Rich, who I will get to in a moment. I actually feel like this round to roast him. I don't know that that's ever happened here, but no, I don't do that. But ladies, it's great to see all of you again. In fact, I walked in and I hugged Amanda, and I don't know if that's okay. But I did it because it's just that comfortable, so sorry, man. But back to the baseball, because they said I only have 5 minutes. I'm almost done, right? What I will say is the community aspects of the team was something that was really special for all of us as we went through it. And I haven't thought about the scores or the plays or the hits or any of that really over the last couple of weeks until we started reading through the articles. And that text thread was pretty epic. There was a lot of great newspaper article in there. We started talking, hey, was Matthew's triple, was that a prairie? Or I wish I could remember what that was like. And, you know, how far did Kevin's home run go over the fence? Was that left field or right field? And those details really, well, they've lost me, and I know they've lost a lot of the other guys too, but I think that the feelings you get when you go through those moments, you never forget. And so it's great. Like, I feel like I could call any of them up if I was on the side of the road and they would come get me, even if I haven't talked to them in 15 years. I think they would all come as I looked around. So I think it speaks to the team and what we had collectively as a group. The other thing, is I coach Little League Baseball now with my 2 boys, and I think about like what creates a team, and I find myself yelling a lot of the things that Richie yelled, and a lot of things that my dad yelled, and all those other people I already named. And so I think that you build those things based on the experiences you've had in your life as you grow up, and I think we have the best experiences. I know many of you are doing the same things with your kids, your families, and taking the principles and the things that we learned playing together. The commitment to a team and to each other is probably, for me, is probably one of the biggest things that I think really stands out. I know that all of these guys are hardworking, and the jobs that they have, they show up, and that they put their time in. I know that without even having talking to them. I think that comes all the way back to some of the things we learned from Coach during that time. We also learned how to take orders. Like 45 minutes ago, he said, "You're going to talk, okay?" We still just follow that through. So with that, I just say the commitment, the hard work we learned. We're thrilled to be here. I think the turnout from both squads is a testament to that, and how we are thrilled to be here. I know there's a lot of parents here. I know you're very proud too, but we couldn't have done it without the support we have from the community during all that time. So thank you guys all for being here, and for the committee for honoring us. Mr. Roos, if you could just stand up here for a second so I know what I'm talking about. So another thing that Rich talked about when we first opened it was, a little closer. So, just wanted you to feel good. So one thing, I know that a lot of the kids up here that have Rich through the years through school in different positions or different Well, this will be, I was just waiting, I was thinking nervous, because I'm nervous. One thing I just wanted to talk about was, this guy right here for us, he talked about being 25. We all felt like he was like 35. Because we were really young. But we all owe him a lot for what we have today and what we were able to take into colleges and into our work lives throughout. And I know that we all thank you for that, Rich. And I know it's kind of difficult because you're speaking and doing all this to really think about that because you're doing all this other stuff. But we really appreciate what you've done for us through the years. I know that you were hard on some of us in different ways and you pushed us all the way we needed to be pushed. And I know that to a guy, I think we all appreciate that in our own way. And they're nodding. You're supposed to nod. Audience participation. So thank you very much. We will definitely be catching up one-on-one and doing that throughout the night. And thank you. We're glad to be here. All right, so we're going to call up the, well, that was Rich. He's the head coach.
The other people that are here, and I don't think Kirk Wester made it. Kirk, you in the house? No. But I want to recognize Charlie Worley and Wayne Lindeman and Kirk Wester, who are the assistant coaches. Assistant coaches have to do a lot of the dirty work, as you know. But the best thing about the coaching staff that we had in that particular year is the level of trust that I had in those guys. If Wayne was working with the pitchers, I knew exactly they were going to get the right coaching to get us moving forward. Charlie with catchers and corners. So when you have that, you can say, okay, we're going to individual drill, go do it. And everything gets done, it works like clockwork. So I just want to make sure Charlie and Wayne are recognized for their hard work.
All right, fellas, if you can come over. First of all, one at a time. A little Matt Brown. Jesse Weaver. Jesse Weaver. Jesse Matthews. Tom Marshall. While we're handing these out, I'll just clear up the Misty Velke story. That was yeah, let me clear that up real quick. So that was, he's got the location correct. It was in the batting cage where we used to have 6 a.m. practices. And the rest of it's true. I think the girls actually bet money, and I think we lost like lunch money that day or something, but we couldn't even swing and foul her off. And it might be a pretty I had something to do with the rise ball, which I'm pretty sure is still physically impossible. I want the coaches to come up slowly by themselves. Mr. Ray Lindeman. And Mr. Charles Ward.
Our final recognition of the night. Team inductee 1996, first place state champion girls Fastpitch team. With dominant pitching and clutch hitting, the Lumberjill Fastpitch softball team brought home the first softball championship in school history with a 1-0 victory over WF West of Chehalis. Good teams can win with good pitching, but hitting with great teams, Good teams can win with good pitching and hitting, but great teams, championship teams, can also win with excellent fielding. These qualities were exhibited by the way the Jills in the championship game and throughout the state tourney. At state, the Jills scored 11 runs and gave up only 1. Winning the AA portion of the 2A, 3A Greater St. Helens League, RAL entered district play as the #1 seed. In their first game, they lost to Centralia 4-1 in 8 innings. The Jills came back and won their next 2 games over the Center 3-2 and Castle Rock 2-0 in 8 innings. This game had been delayed 72 hours because of weather conditions and was completed on Wednesday before the state tournament was held in Larson Park in Yakima that weekend. In the game with Castle Rock, Angie Ramos had 3 hits, Misty, Velke, and Courtney Giles 2 apiece. At the AA AB Fastpitch State Tournament, Jills continued their winning ways as they beat #1 seeded Meadowdale from District 1 by a score of 2-1. Sarah Stewart led the Jills' offensive attack with 3 hits, and Jill pitcher Velke struck out 11 Chiefs. In their second game, Longview shut out Colville 5-0. Velke struck out 16. Ramos, Giles, and Emily Minium added the Jills by getting 2 hits apiece. Continuing their remarkable state run, the Jills captured their 5th straight victory by beating Capital 3-0. Capital was the Southwest Washington District Championship as well as 2-time reigning state champion. Leading the way offensively, Stewart, Velke, and Ramos. Ramos delivered a clutch 2 RBIs and triple in the 3rd inning, eventually scoring RAL's 3rd run. In the title game, both teams, RAL and WF West, were determined to win. It took an extra 8th inning to decide the championship. Katie Madden drove in the Jills' only run in the top of the 8th, scoring Minium from 3rd base. Giles had the only other Jill hit. Velke struck out 8 Bearcat batters and provided some clutch fielding by throwing out runners at 3rd base during the course of the game. During the season, the Jills had a record 20 wins and 7 losses. Velke, Ramos, and Giles were named to the first team of the Greater St. Helens League Fastpitch League team. Velke was also named the 2A Player of the Year. Madden and Minium were also All-League second team. Stewart was an honorable mention. 1996 State Fastpitch first place team. Welcome to the Hall of Fame.
I didn't even know I was supposed to speak. My wife and I drove in here, or we flew in here last night, and I just found out about 5 minutes ago that I'm giving a speech. So I am not prepared, and which is not unusual because I taught here at RAL for 17 years, and I think some of the guys that had me and some of the girls that had me also believed I didn't know how to you know, I've coached a lot of sports in a lot of different places, and I coached baseball, and the only thing I can remember when I started this whole situation was Ty Morris called me into his office one day and he says, "Dave, we need a softball coach." I says, "But I'm not a softball coach. I coached baseball in the Yakima Valley for 4 years, and I've been a golf coach." And he says, "Well, guess what? You're going to be a softball coach." So the first couple of years were kind of interesting. We had some pitching. And then along came this young lady. And she says, "I want to play for RAL, and I want to play for you." And I thought, okay, wait a minute. You want to play for RAL, which I understand, because that's a great school and stuff like that. But you want to play for me? I mean, I'm not overly intelligent about this whole softball thing. I'm just learning it as I go. But when you have a great pitcher and you have great girls, of all of the teams that I've coached in the 27 or 30 years that I coached basketball, football, baseball, golf, the whole thing, this is the team that I will always remember. And of course, it doesn't hurt to win a state title with them. That's not bad. But like Rich was talking about, I had a friend in Arizona. I called him up one day and I said, "Hey, can you set me up some softball games and set me up some baseball games in Arizona over spring break? And we worked it out, and Ty Morris talked to us, and we went to Arizona, and it's like Rich said, with his guys and with my girls, we really bonded. And we went to Arizona, and Misty gave up 1 run in 5 games, and we scored 43 runs. That's the kind of people, that's the kind of girls we had. And not only that, but we had parents that went with us, and the parents of these girls were great. And I learned a lot along the way, and I learned a lot along the way because of two or three people, and they were my assistants. And they're in the back there, Jose and Dan and Jackie. They did a great job, and you know, they looked at me, and one game, I think Misty had pitched 3 games in a row or something like that, and Jackie looked at me and she says, "Don't worry about it, just let her pitch again." So I went to her dad, and I said, "Well, what do you think?" And he says, "She's fine, let her pitch again." I said, "Okay." You know, so, and she was so used to pitching 5 or 6 games a day that it became really, really interesting. And I really appreciate you guys putting these girls into the Hall of Fame, because they really, really are a great group of kids. And, you know, and my wife's here with me tonight, and I didn't say anything about my wife, but I've been married almost 50 years, so it's not a big deal. But I hugged every one of them. And my wife never said anything to me. Now, she may say something to me on the way back to the hotel when we get done tonight, but, you know, I'm not sure she'll say too much, so. Anyway, thank you again. You guys have been great. And like I said, I taught here 17 years, and I had one guy go here to school here, one son go to school and graduate from here, and I had one go to school at Mark Morris and graduate from there. But you know, they got a great Longview education. That's the big part of it. And I know both of them said, "You know, Dad, I wish you really were a teacher, because we could never get away with anything. If we got away with anything, you always found out about it the next day." And I said, "Yeah, that's pretty true." So anyway, and most of these guys over here had me for CWP, and you know, being calm and collected and not getting excited. These girls don't believe that, and I don't think the guys believe that either. But like I said, the one thing that was really funny to me was one of their baseball players, and I'm not sure if it was Sean or Anna, came up to me and said, "You know what? She's not that good." I thought it was Sean. And she says, "You know what, Coach? You shouldn't let us try to hit her." I said, "Hey, not a problem. You know, if you want to give her a shot, go ahead." And it's like Rich said, they never touched her. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay. I'm gonna let Angie, who is one of our captains, I'm gonna let her introduce.
Coach Dave Polk. And my dad took over as head coach after Coach Polk retired. And they got new uniforms, and I said, "You are not letting this number 5 jersey go. You are getting that for me," and he did. And so I love it. Thank you. I had to support it tonight. Coach Dan Velke. And Coach Jackie Schleska. Angela Abel. Melody Abel. Sandra Bean, Courtney Giles, Christy Giles could not be here with us tonight. Dave Green. Heather Levy, also not present. Katie Madden, also not present. Emily Miniam. Sarah Stewart, also not here. Pitching superstar, Misty Velke. Amy Williams, also not here. And then, last but not least, just really quickly, we lost somebody really special to us a couple years ago, and she deserves a quick minute here. We all miss her very much. She was our center fielder, Sarah Yohe. Sarah had the most unique, cute little laugh, and she had a smile that could light up the room. And we know that she's smiling down on us tonight, and we all wish that she could be here with us. I hear Connie Yohe is in the audience. Connie, are you here? Connie, can you please come up? Please.
For our 1996 state champion. I know you've all been sitting and been a great audience. This is going to wrap up our show tonight. There's tons of food and tons of things to eat, so have at it, stick around, get to the archive room, get with these guys, take a ton of pictures. Thank you all for coming tonight. Have a great evening.